Peace, real quick. I got this book recently, The Color of Law by Richard Rothstein. I seen a moor posted a video. I posted a picture of his books, and I seen this was one of them. Now, this might be a book he actually put some on Instagram from. Actually, maybe I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, fuck. Bought the book. I really didn't know what to expect. I just figured Color of Law. You understand what I'm saying? Colorable law, what we dealing with. I didn't think the book had any. I didn't think it was gonna be directly related to us, and I mean us as the people. But I mean, the second chapter is Black Ghettos. I said, yeah, damn. So I was reading it. I just on the first page. I ain't even got into the book. And look here, it's video worthy. Went from 2014 to 2016, riots in places like Ferguson, Baltimore, Milwaukee, or Charlotte captured our attention. Most of us thought we knew how these segregated neighborhoods with their crime, violence, anger, and poverty came to be. We said they are de facto segregated, that they resulted from private practices, not from law or governmental policy. De facto segregation, we tell ourselves, has various causes. When African Americans moved into neighborhoods like Ferguson, a few racially prejudiced white families decided to leave. And then as the number of black families grew, the neighborhood deteriorated and white flight followed. Real estate agents steered whites away from black neighborhoods and blacks away from white ones. Banks discriminated with redlining, refusing to give mortgages to African Americans or extracting unusually severe terms from them with subprime loans. African Americans have. I'm trying to talk loud with my baby loud. African Americans. Alright, so I got them closed though. Okay. African Americans have generally gotten the education that would enable them to earn sufficient incomes to live in white suburbs, and as a result, many remain concentrated in urban neighborhoods. Besides, black families prefer to live with one another. It used to be the case. I don't know wrong with y'all these days anyway. All this has some truth, but it remains a small part of truth submerged by far more important one. Until the last quarter of the 20th century, racially explicit policies of federal, state, and local government define where whites and African Americans should live. Today's residential segregation, the North, South, Midwest, and West, is not the unintended consequence of individual choices and of otherwise well-meaning law. Okay. Well-meaning law. What was that? Not intended otherwise well-meaning law or regulation, but of unhidden public policy that explicitly segregated every metropolitan area in the United States. The policy was so systematic and forceful that its effects endure to the present time. Without our government's purposeful imposition of racial segregation and other causes, private prejudice, white flight, real estate steering, bank redlining, income differences, and self-segregation still would have existed, but with far less opportunity for expression. Segregation by international government action is not de facto, rather it is what courts call de jure segregation by law and public policy. Damn. Residential racial segregation by state action is a violation of our Constitution and its Bill of Rights. The Fifth Amendment, written by our founding fathers, prohibits the federal government from treating citizens unfairly. The 13th Amendment, adopted immediately after the Civil War, prohibits slavery or, in general, treating African Americans as second-class citizens, while the 14th Amendment, also adopted after the Civil War, prohibits states and their local governments from treating people either unfairly or unequally. The applicability of the Fifth and 14th Amendment to the government sponsorship of residential segregation will make sense to most readers. Clearly denying African Americans access to housing subsidies that were extended to whites constitutes unfair treatment, and if consistent, rises to the level of serious constitutional violation. But it may be surprising that residential segregation also violates the 13th Amendment. We typically think of the 13th Amendment only as abolishing slavery. Section 1 of the 13th Amendment does so. Section 2 empowers Congress to enforce Section 1. In 1866, Congress enforced the abolition of slavery by passing Civil Rights Act, prohibiting action that it deems perpetuated the characteristics of slavery, action that made African Americans class citizens, such as racial discrimination in housing, were included in the ban. So as you can see, I mean, you get his point, even though I could disagree with some of this stuff. But just like all the stuff we've been saying, the government's against us and all that, like they're writing about it now. Like in books you can buy on Amazon, it's probably sold in damn Walmart or something. You know what I'm saying? Like this book came out like last year or something. Copyright 2017. So, that whole thing of, the government's against black folks, here you go.